Man, what is this?
What is this? This is an Auratone speaker. This is Bruce Swedien swore by these. Again, Michael Jackson's Thriller was mixed on these. Um, this this particular one, I think, is from the '60s or '70s. Obviously, you would use more than one, but they were first introduced to me by one of my mentors, Mike Palopoulos, who's in the spirit world now. But he explained to me that this was a way of simulating the way music would sound on a TV speaker. So when you were mixing for broadcast or trying to mix to make sure that your music would translate into a less than hi-fi playback system, this was a compromised way of listening. But the dirty secret about these things is that they're not really compromised. It's a well balanced enclosure. The speaker driver is small enough that it can move fast enough to give you a proper mid range and relatively high frequency response. But because it's a sealed box, it's what they call an acoustic suspension speaker. So the low frequencies are actually pretty taut. They're pretty accurate as far as how the bass part of the speaker drives the box and therefore how you hear it. The other thing that works in its favor is that because it's a single driver, there's no phase incoherencies between a tweeter and a woofer. It's one driver putting out all the frequencies that you can hear. I'm not saying all the frequencies that there are. I'm saying all frequencies that this thing can reproduce are all coming from the same point source. So everything that comes out of it is pretty well in phase. You can trust that this is delivering a phase coherent response to your ear. And they got adopted in mix rooms because back then you'd had soffit mounted speakers, you had your giant speakers in the wall, and those tended to be very big, overblown speakers. They had a tremendous low end. They were really meant, they were really ideal for impressing your clients and kind of blowing their hair back. Whereas these actually got some good work done. You could actually get some accurate work out of these. Like I said, Bruce Swedien loved these. A few cats through the '80s used the heck out of these. I still love them. There's a few tricks you can do with this. Maybe one day we'll talk about the headphone-less vocal recording that you can do with these. But again, that relies on the fact that it's a single point source and you don't have this phase smear between a low frequency driver, a mid range, and a high frequency driver. It's very phase coherent. But yeah, Auratone, they reissued these. I think they called them, I can't remember now, but there was a modern version of these that came out. They had an amplifier built in. But yeah, these were fantastic speakers, kind of originated in broadcast and then found their way into the studio, and I still use them today.
And to be clear, it's for checking mixes. You're not recording on these things, or like, you know what I mean?
I don't enjoy recording on them, but someone like Bruce Swedien would do an entire mix on these. He wouldn't listen to really anything else.
And so, what are you looking for when you're listening on those?
What am I looking for
Like,
when I'm listening to
like
these?
what I'm saying is like if you can hear the bass through those things, because why? Because they're right. They're mainly mid range.
Yeah, that's one way of thinking about it. But again, with all things audio, the most important thing you're trying to recreate is the mid range. You want intelligibility. It literally goes back to the days when we talk about hi-fi, high fidelity. It meant we were authentically reproducing the important part of the frequency spectrum. We're getting the message across. Everybody's voice lives in the mid range. Everybody's ears are sensitive to mid range because of their relationship to the human voice. You need to hear a baby crying. You need to hear your mama calling. You've got to be able to hear the mid range. You've got to be able to create the mid range. It's how we communicate. So everything about music and communicating information acoustically, auditorily, is about the mid range. So these speakers tend to be incredibly accurate in that mid range. But because of the design, I don't know if it was on purpose or if it was a fluke, but because of the design, the low frequencies, they're not huge. They don't make you feel like you're being engulfed by low frequencies, but you can hear the accuracy of the instrument all the way down to the bass drum. You can hear the low frequencies all the way down. So you can tell when the bass is right. Because you don't have this complicated woofer system trying to reproduce bass frequencies. This will basically tell you, it's basically pass fail. If your low end is right, it'll sound right on here. If your low end is too complicated and canceling itself out or moving the speaker in too chaotic a pattern, this speaker will point it out. And that's the real gift that this speaker gives us. The Auratone. This speaker, the Auratone. That's the real gift that the Auratone gives us.
All right. Thank you for answering that question.